Hello, everyone. We have more than 30 people connected now. Thank you very much for being here today. I'm Teresa Galofre, Social Manager of Esade Alumni, and today I'm going to present the second impact talk on social impact catalysis, who generates impact. I don't know why my screen is not working really well, so I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to do it like this. Well, the main objective of this session is to learn a bit more on how impact is generated and which are the challenges and opportunities. Also, which are the ways of generating this impact, and whereas through an NGO, through a private entity, or through a social enterprise. And also, we are going to gain some insight in possible career possibilities, which are the skills that we need now and in the future in order to work in the sector. And obviously, I hope that we have fun and we enjoy the session. So thank you very much. And I'm going to pass the floor to Tobias Hahn. Thank you, Tobias.
Well, thank you, Teresa, for the introduction, and welcome everyone. And it's my pleasure to host this panel discussion. And we have a wonderful panel of 3 people from 3 different organizations. So we have Maybritt van Engeland from Chocolonely. So maybe you wave and so everyone can see who you are. Excellent. We have Laia Mas from Danone, and we have Mariona Gonzalez from Oxfam. So first of all, thanks to all the 3 of you for being available on a Thursday night at this time of the day. Greatly appreciated. And I will not spend much more time speaking myself. I will give the floor to you. The format is as follows. We will give all our 3 panelists a brief opportunity to introduce yourselves, and then we have a number of questions. We'll have a conversation among the 3 of the panelists. And then at the end, we'll have some time, 10-15 minutes for questions from the floor. So if you have questions at some point, put them in a chat, raise your hand, and we hopefully will be able to at least attend to some of your questions. All right, so without further ado, I would like to move forward. I would like to invite the panelists to introduce herself. So maybe, Laia, you can start and to give us a very brief introduction, who you are, what are you doing, who your company is, and why you're here.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting us to this amazing talk, and I'm happy and glad to participate. So I work in Danone as a Corporate Affairs and Sustainability Director. I've been in this company for 22 years already, so I've been a long journey. And now I'm very pleased to be part of one of the largest Big Corp companies in the world. Danone, it's very new as a company maybe, but I want to just emphasize that we have 4 big divisions. That one is the dairy yogurts, the second is the plant-based yogurts, an alternative to dairy. We have mineral water, and we have also specialized nutrition. So this is what we do. We are a food industry and a food company. And what do I do? Well, basically to make my title more easy to understand. So I try to bring the outside to the inside, and I try to translate the external challenges we are facing as society at a local level, at a global level, into actions in order to impact and to transform our operating model in a more sustainable way. So this is basically the role I do, and especially what I need to do is to find bridges, talk, listen to everyone, and try to really to connect and to find collaborations and partners for the huge challenge we have in front of us. So this is basically what I do in my daily job.
Thank you very much, Laia. So Mariona, will you want to continue?
Sure. So my name is Mariona Gonzalez, and as Laia, so I've been working for Oxfam for the last almost 20 years, so a long career inside the organization. And Oxfam, for the ones that maybe you don't know, this organization is an international NGO with 60 years of story. And during the last year, we've given support to more than 25 million people in 90 countries. So as international NGO, what we do is that we have development programs that, for example, support SMEs, or we have gender programs, we have livelihood programs, and the part of our work is the humanitarian aid. So we are, when there are big catastrophes or when there are long-term catastrophes, but as for example now there is a big hunger and drought in the Horn of Africa. So we are there supporting people also in the moment where there is more need. And about my position, so I'm the head of partnerships, and I think that I'm the counterpart of Laia. So Laia was saying that she, at Danone, her role is outside in order to solve problems that are facing different people and the world. So I'm the same face, but in an NGO. So I'm looking for the support of private companies, could be consultancies or companies like Danone or other actors, also from the finance sector and so on. And the same as Laia said, so looking for bridges in order to have the highest impact to reach the vulnerable people in the world. So yeah, I think that you can imagine it's my job is. And thank you so much for having me here. I think it's great that Esade organizes that in order that students know the different options that there are available for impact.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Mariona. And finally, last but not least, Maybritt, will you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Yeah. So first of all, thanks for inviting me. I'm super excited to be here, talk about impact. So my name is Maybritt. I'm the people partner within Chocolonely. So I'm working in the people and culture team. And yeah, we're Chocolonely, and we're an impact company that makes chocolate and not the other way around. And what we do is that we are fighting every single day for equality in the chocolate industry, because there's so much poverty and modern slavery, but also child labor going on in our industry. So we exist actually to end that and make all chocolate worldwide 100% slave-free. Because I think the system is broken and it's up to us to fix it. And by us, I don't mean only us as a company, but also you as a person, governments, other chocolate companies, because only together we can make all chocolate 100% slave-free. And in my role, I'm not in the front line, so to say, if it comes to make impact in the cocoa industry. But our motto is that we are crazy about chocolate and serious about people. And with people, I mean every single person that we're working with. So from farmers to our own employees. And it's up to me and my team to translate being serious about people within Tony's as a company. So yeah, that's who we are and what I do.
Excellent, thank you. So the first question is a rather broad and general one, but a very important one, because I mean we have different types of organizations here, and different organizations might have a different understanding of what social impact actually is. So the question goes to all three of you. What is social impact for you? What does it mean for you? Whoever wants to go first, I mean, I let you self-organize. What is social impact in the end?
Okay, if you...
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
But later someone starts the question. So for a big private company, like Danone, so impact, especially it's for us, is how we would like to understand impact and sustainability is really an internal transformation of the operating model. I think we are a scale company. We have an impact about what we do. So for us, what this means is really to transform the way we do things in order that this could really change and impact at scale. That means, and this is really broad, this could move from gender equality and diversity inside the company. We are really committed to really be a driver of change on this topic inside, to how do we produce our products in that we can reduce significantly the impact on CO2 emissions level. So this means for us that we need to understand from our business operating model and our brands, which is our footprint in terms of social impact, to really read very smartly the SDGs and try to, with a very good assessment, external assessment, with all this interaction with partners and key opinion leaders at the country, like social entities, like authorities, like NGOs and activists, we need to come up with a clear journey about which are the priorities we have as a company, where we need to transition, and especially we need to change the way we do things in order to have a really impact and tangible impact at the end. This is not a parallel agenda about a CSR program in our home. This is about business and this is about transformation. This is how do we understand impact in sustainability in Danone.
So what I found interesting is that you mentioned two things. You mentioned that you have impact through being big, because you're scale, and you have impact by integrating it into your core business. But you also mentioned NGOs, right, which links also to, for instance, Mariona, who represents an NGO. And that's why I would like to hear Mariona's point of view, but then also Maybritt's point of view, because that is kind of the opposite end of the big player and small player spectrum. And let's see if there's a difference in the understanding. But Mariona first, perhaps.
Yeah, so actually, for Oxfam, and my understanding is that Oxfam does is pure impact. So our mission is fighting poverty and inequality. So, and the reason why Oxfam was created was to fight poverty. So everything that we do is related to impact and to generate impact. But that's true that years ago, when Oxfam started, this was a role that was given to NGOs, and the private sector was not really engaged in that. And as Laia Danone is a clear example. So at this stage, there are many private companies who also have integrated in their mission to generate impact. So for Oxfam, actually, what impact is everything that we do. But we understand that why we do that is because all the people in the world should have the same rights and the same opportunities. And in order to have the highest impact, our role is to make possible that one has the same rights to have education, medical care, but also to start a business. And that's how we see impact. So it's a question of rights, it's a question of privilege.
Okay, thank you.
Last but not least, right? Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to what both are saying. To me, social impact is like, I think we're in a world where there's so much wrong, there's so much unfairness going on, so much inequality, and I think that everyone deserves just a happy life, a job where they have a fair paid salary for, they can take care of their kids, they can send them to school, they have a roof over their head. And that's just not the case right now, and that really goes by my heart. So, to me, and to Tony's as well, social impact is all about succeeding in getting justice and getting equality all over the world to help our fellow people, and to improve the circumstance that they're in and give them a chance to a proper life. But also challenge others to do the same there. And I think that's exactly what Tony's is doing right now, creating awareness around the world, but also leading by example and inspire others to act.
All right, thank you. So you all seem to have a quite humanistic approach to impact, focusing on people, equality of opportunity, basic needs, and so on. Now let's explore a little bit what are the different roles of different actors there. And again, let's start with Danone, and Danone being a big player. Danone is one of the biggest B Corps currently certified. So maybe Laia could explain what being a B Corp certified actually means, and what it means also for measuring the performance of the company. I mean, the day you got the certification, what did that change? Is it more than a label, and how is it more than a label?
Yeah, well, big topic. Yeah, I mean, we have been certified for the first time in 2016, and it's true that when we get through the BIA, which is the big audit, that we need to run, and we realize where our, we have identified first where we need to impact as a company, as I said before. We are a food company, we have a scale. We need to really pay attention about our footprint in many topics, in circularity, in plastics, in our farming, in our customers, in our employees. So we have a clear journey about what we need to address and which are our priorities, because as I said before, these challenges are huge. So this is aligned with the board. This has a governance inside Danone. This is not a parallel team working like activists. No, we are embedded on the daily basis decision of the board direction, because we are driving business. That's what I want to give this sense that we are business people trying to make an impact, positive impact about what we do. So based on this exercise, then we ran the BIA of B Corp, and we realized that, well, we were fitting the first 80 points we need to deserve to get this first certification. But as we said, B Corp is not a stamp, it's not just a label. B Corp is a mindset, is a movement, is an idea that we need to keep doing better things if we want to have a major impact. So what brings to us is basically that we need to monitor and to define KPIs of progress, which is very good, because we need to be concrete enough and to show to the auditors that we are improving. The B Corp, it's not a standard. Every 2 years change. We have a COP 27 approaching. I mean, the context of the society is moving. So the B Corp standards are moving, and we are moving with them. So it's a way to set up the bar and to make us feel that we are never there, and we need to stay committed and stay resilient, because this is a resilient agenda, especially for us as a company that we are a big scale, as I said, and we have done and take good decisions, but sometimes we need to address other ones still. So this transformation makes us to keep connected. And B Corp has another very, very interesting thing, that is a way to connect every single employee to a vision, to a movement and a kind of mindset. And this is something very powerful for, again, big companies, which we have a lot of employees. We are more than 2,000 employees in Spain. So it's a way also that we have even a bottom-up committee that people tell us, okay, we need to do this, we need to improve this. And there's a kind of retroalimentation between every layer of the company, which is something really nice and really brings a lot of energy. And sometimes we can manage to prioritize it. Sometimes we need to just stay and keep resilient with other priorities. And this is what brings to us being a B Corp and how this helps us to monitor, but also to have this mindset of improvement.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Now let's contrast that to the flip side of a small enterprise like Tony's, and at the same time, Tony's has made quite an impression, right? So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about your mission and the impact you had so far in the cocoa industry.
Of course, I do love what you're saying there, that we're a small enterprise with a big impression. I think that's cool to hear. So like I said, our mission is to make all chocolate worldwide 100% slave-free. And we ever started that journey by using our 3 pillars. So the first one is creating awareness around the globe to make everyone aware of the issues we are currently facing in our industry, but also the possible solutions and the role that we each play. I think it's, people need to start talking. People need to understand what's wrong in this world. And if they start talking, other companies will feel pressured and hopefully they will take action. And the second one is leading by example, which is all about showing other companies that you can do chocolate differently. We are currently using our 5 sourcing principle system for that, which is all about having full traceability of our beans within the entire supply chain, but also paying a higher price for the fair beans to guarantee that our farmers can have earn at least a living income wage. And on top of that, we're also paying a Tony's premium. Besides that, it's also about building these long-term relationships with farmers and help them also to increase their quality of the beans and productivity. And I think the third one is inspired to act, and I don't think it needs much explanation, but what we want from other chocolate companies is that they are starting to following us. They can copy us, or they can even copy and improve our business model. We actually don't care, but we want them to see acting, that they are making changes in their industry. And if I look at how far we have come, I think last year we did some great things. We worked with almost 9,000 farmers, which we therefore positively impacted. And all these farmers are also united within cooperations. And last year we also onboarded 2 new cooperations, which means that we are now working with 7 in total. So you can imagine how many farmers are united in those co-ops. And the more farmers there are there, the more co-ops that we have, the more impact we can make. And like I already said, we're also paying a higher price for cocoa to make sure the farmers can at least earn a living income wage. And on top of that, we are paying a Tony's premium so they can send their kids to school, but also that they can invest in their own farm and make better choices if it comes to recouping costs. And last year, we have paid almost 4 million euros of that premium to our farmers. What else? Yeah, maybe one other cool thing to add is our Tony's Open Chain. Tony's Open Chain is an initiative where we invite other chocolate companies to join us in our mission. And they can use our 5 sourcing principles and everything that we use to change their industry or their supply chain as well. And what's also very cool to know is that we are currently now talking to 33 new potential mission allies. So I'm really curious to see how many mission allies we have on board or are onboarding this year, and the other results that we are getting to. So a lot of cool, good things to come.
Excellent. So before we move to the NGO, I have one more question to each of you to follow up on that. You already mentioned, Maybritt, that you want others to follow, and I assume that Danone has similar movements going on around you, that others try to follow, hopefully try to follow your good examples. But Laia, if you look at other companies, and you don't need to name and shame others, but what are the problems when it comes to corporate social impact that you see around you? What are people, not only you at Danone, but also your competitors, other industries, what are companies struggling with when they want to have social impact?
Okay, I think one is just to deny a little bit that this is going to, we need to change. I mean, I think that Maybritt said before, the more we are aware, the better shape we will be. So instead of being complaining, trying to not act, just try to decide where you want to act and speed up. So I would like maybe to tackle the point that we have a huge challenge as a worldwide, but in every single country in terms of reduction of CO2 and trying to really to meet the reduction, to meet the 1.5 degrees maximum of warming. And this is a huge challenge we have in front of us. So for all of these things, we need to really take decisions, and the decisions are tough. So in our case, when we understand that the diet and the impact of diet in the global warming, it's there, it's happening. So it's better, instead of just waiting that this will be solved by, I don't know, we need to act. So for that, there's a lot of contradiction sometimes, and decisions are tough, because okay, we are a flexitarian company, we have a plant-based business, and we have a dairy business at the same time. So how the hell this could be explained sometimes from external eyes? So what we said is that, okay, we need to understand that we need to meet the expectations that to reduce CO2. Okay, so we need to accelerate plant-based solutions, but at the same time we need to accompany those farmings, especially understanding the situation they have, because those families, they receive the income today in our farms mainly from the cows. So how do I improve them? So how do I set up? 15 years ago, we started a journey that today, all of our family farms we work with, we have long-term contracts of between 3 to 5 years. This gives us stability. This gives a fair price that they can really have a future. So once we said that, we need to commit that we need to have fix population on those farms in order to transition. And when we have fixed population and have long-term contracts, then we can talk about how do I reduce the CO2 footprint in our cows and how I diversify my incomes in my farm. So this journey takes time. This journey takes resilience, commitment, investment. And this is where sometimes decisions in several moments as a company could be a little bit difficult to take. So this is a little bit the situation I can share with you with a concrete example that we are facing today.
Okay, thank you. I'd love to come back later on some of these topics, but let's move on first. One challenge that is often mentioned is the challenge of measuring impact. And I would like to ask Maybritt whether you can share some of your practices, how you actually try to measure your impact, be it through your child labor monitoring or the bean tracker, and also with regard to environmental or sustainability impact. What do you do to make sure that you not just claim impact, but you can show and measure impact?
Yeah, I think impact is the main thing that we are aiming for every day. And I think that every single company needs to know what's going on in their supply chain, and they shouldn't look the other way of things that are happening. It's important to know the social, but also the environmental and also the logistical story behind every product you are producing. And only then I think you can take full responsibility for what happens and you can actually start making a change. And we are currently doing that by a bean tracker and our climbers, the child labor monitoring and remediation system. So to zoom in a bit more on the bean tracker, this is about having full traceability across our entire supply chain. So that is key for us to take on full responsibility. By the bean tracker, we know exactly who is producing our beans, where they're coming from, but also under which social and environmental conditions they are produced. Now every bean for us is traceable. We even included some GPS mapping data to really find out where they're coming from, where they are right now. And any mission ally can also use this bean tracker to also have more insights in how beans are being produced. The other one is indeed the climber system, so the child labor monitoring and remediation system. And this really works to identify, but also to solve cases of child labor, and more important, to prevent these in the future. This is something that is implemented in every single household that is part of our co-op. So every single farmer is under the loop if it comes to child labor, modern slavery. And last year we found 1,701 cases to be specific if it comes to child labor. But good to know is that most of these cases, like 1,500, were found at our newest co-op. So that really shows that our system, our 5 sourcing principle, is working and it's paying off actually. And I think it's not nice to find these cases, but let's be honest, if we don't find them, we don't know, and we can help them, and we can make the world a better place. And we don't look the other way. We are actively reporting the cases that we are finding to make not only ourselves aware of what we found, what we did, what we solved, but also to make others aware that, hey, this is happening in your supply chain. You should do a check on that as well. Yeah, and I think these two are the most important thing to us, to make sure we take full responsibility for everything that happens and try to move on from there and make things better.
Does this mean, quick follow-up and quick answer, please. Does this mean you are transparent even when it hurts to yourself?
Absolutely, yeah. You should actually read the annual fair report. We're not only reporting the numbers or the things that we did, what went well for us, but we are reporting anything. Our plans, if they succeeded or they completely failed, we are reporting it. We're also reporting the child labor case. We're reporting anything that we do within our company, good or bad. I think that's important. That it's not only about the good thing, but you're being realistic and yeah, showing others that it's not always going as planned,
Okay, thanks a lot. So we have heard about the corporate world, big and small so far. Let's move over to the third sector, Mariona. Now, your role is the one of head of partnership. So if you look back a couple of years and you spent a lot of time in Oxfam, would you say that these collaborations with other partners have become more important to come up with something like a hybrid system of impact? Did you see such development? Is there a change in that direction going on, that NGOs collaborate more and more also with corporate and business actors?
Absolutely. So there is a change, but the question is that is a must. So that's true that 20 years ago, when I started, the kind of collaborations that we had with the private sector was about funding. So we found nice companies or nice foundations who gave money to Oxfam, and Oxfam was responsible to developing a program, and then so giving the feedback of which impact we have had with this program, with this project or this program. The big change now is that we need companies and we need other actors to make our programs reality. And actually my role is this one, is identify internally which needs do we have and who are the best partners in order to have the highest impact. And as you are saying, so the third sector has evolved because nowadays it's a must to be sustainable, and that the support if in our case in the countries and to the local partners with whom we work is that they are sustainable also. And in that way, we must sustain business models. True that there is a part of our model which is based in grant funding, which comes from small donors, and it comes also from big institutional donors. But there is another part that we're quite similar to Chocolonely. Actually, we have a fair trade area. We've been distributing fair trade with farmers for the last 20 years. We work trade, we work coffee, so we work some sort of food products, but also garments that we distribute through our shops that we have all around Spain, but we also distribute them through the big distribution channels, all the big supermarkets and so on. So here was like our first project of sustainability. And nowadays all our innovations in fundraising are linked to sustainable business models. For example, we have a sports event called Trail Walker that offers a big satisfaction to the participants. Most of them are participants, and we are not only asking to the people to donation to Oxfam, but we offer a good experience. And that's where I mentioned that it's really needed to change the model and not depending only on donations or philanthropy. And that's true. So it's happened. Well, this is happening at Oxfam level, but it's happening in so many other NGOs. And I heard that the next week you are having the impact talk talking about impact investing. And so Oxfam is starting to work in this area, and many other organizations also. And this is another example of how NGOs are evolving in a hybrid model, as you said.
Well, since your response fits so nicely with the next question I have for you, I would just come up with that next question directly. I mean, you're head of partnership, right? And you just described that this partnership activities got more and more important. And you also mentioned that it's not just Oxfam, but other NGOs who do similar things and have similar roles. So maybe you can give us a little bit more of a glimpse of what is it that you do? Do you call people all the day, try to get the companies on board? How does head of partnership, how does that work? How do you build your networks and your partnerships? How do you do that from an NGO perspective, reaching out to the corporate world?
No, actually, it's not so different as some other person who works in partnerships in a private company. So my role, but the big difference is that I have an internal role, as I mentioned at the beginning, which is to understand what Oxfam needs and where we can find it. And when I go outside, what I have to do is look at the different companies that that have values which are to our values, because for us it's very sorry about my dog. I'm trying to put him up. They are taking the dog out. So I was saying, so my role is identifying companies which have similar values and that can engage with them, because we cannot make business with all sorts of companies. And then for the matching where Oxfam wins, because we we find the company that give us a good technical solution probably, or give us for all the digital transformation support from the private sector. So I'm looking for these companies who can offer us the value that we need, but at the same time that they pass our ethical screening. So before engaging with the company, what we do is doing a deep analysis to see which is this company's behavior, and if there are some controversies, or we have two options. And I think this is also interesting to share with you. We decide to go further with the partnership and work also with the company in order that improve some of the issues that we've identified that could be improved in order to have a better impact for the society and for the planet. Or we can decide not to go forward with the partnership, explain the company why we cannot go forward, or we can just proceed if everything is green light.
Okay, thanks a lot. So let's move on the conversation a little bit to also the job market. People want to have a job within having this area of social impact. Are there any new job roles that popped up over the last, I don't know, 5 years in that area that you're aware of? I mean, I don't know, Danone, or from whoever's perspective, if you, no need to respond to that question, but if you have any ideas of what are new roles that were not there 5 years ago, that would be interesting to know.
I would say that one key role is management. So this is something that NGOs we've done for the last 20 years. But at this stage, so we've heard from Danone, and we've heard also from Tony's Chocolonely, and from, there are so many companies and that need to report impact. And I think that this is a new position which is actually growing, and there is a huge potential there.
Yeah, well, definitely. I think that today we need to really have teams dedicated to this agenda, and teams, as I said before, like a little bit the same like Mariona, that we need to spend also a lot of time inside and outside. So I think it's a big challenge that we need to find skills that can read both agendas at the same time, the internal and the external, especially for the ones we are in a journey of transformation. So we need to deal with a lot of business decisions regularly to really capture and to find the right angle in order to decide, okay, this deserves to be invested, this deserves to be done, and this is the return of investment of this activity, because we sometimes we even talk about return of investment in impact agenda. So I think it's about this balance, and this nice balance about tending bridges, find the right angle, be able to understand outside, and to connect with what we do in our business to change the direction. So this, it's, I don't know, there's a clear career path for no one. I see it's about more skills and attitude rather than specific career. I think in my team, we have a very different bunch of professions, and it's things about people and about skills.
Let's go back to skills in a minute. What I find interesting is then also at some point to see, like, are you looking for specialists because you need someone of an impact team, or do you need people who are in regular jobs in marketing, finance, and so on, who integrate it, because you highlight that it needs to be integrated. And I think that's an interesting topic to discuss later on as well, different options how to enter that. But maybe, Maybritt, I can ask you, when I imagine as Tony Chocolonely, with, you know, well-known brand for being responsible, kind of like trendy, responsible business, you should probably get a lot of CVs and a lot of applications. So what do you look at when you get these CVs, and what is from your experience, what is the best way to incorporate this passion for the cause in an application?
Yeah,
what story do you believe in?
Yeah, so every vacancy that we're posting, we're getting a lot of applicants, sometimes 100. I can imagine that maybe at Danone it's even much more, but to us that's really a lot. I think for us, most important what we pay attention to is that we are looking for impact-driven people. We want people that are enthusiastic about making impact with us as a company, but also feel connected to our brand and to our mission. And even though not all jobs like mine, for example, is immediately or directly connected to making impact in the cocoa industry, but all Tonys are excited about making impact together with everyone else, and everyone's also considering in everything what they do, what is the impact of what I'm currently doing, what is the impact of my decision, what is the impact of the project that I'm currently doing. And I think what we really like about applicants, if they have their own story about impact, or let's say they are super passionate about sustainability. We hired 2 weeks ago a girl, and she really surprised me. Like, she is so sustainable. She goes to shops, she buys old photo where you put the photos in, and I'm not sure what the English word is. And she's painting them by themselves. She doesn't buy any new stuff. And I think that that's amazing that a girl she's even younger than me. I think I'm 27, she was 22 or something. That I think that's a new generation, and I think that's really what we like. So if you are passionate about making impact, or you are passionate about sustainability, put it in your motivation letter. Show us what you're doing on those topics. That's something we love. We love it very much.
Okay, great. So since Laia mentioned skills and competencies, maybe the three of you can give us a short idea of like what kind of skills and core competencies would you be looking for if someone wanted to join your organization in the impact area? So maybe Mariona, you can give it a start from the NGO perspective. What are the skills an applicant would have to have in your case?
I guess that the main skill is the passion, and it's not a skill, it's a way of living. So we need the same skills as other companies who, depending on, so we are not different as a regular company. So we need people who is passionate, people who is engaged with our mission, and who is innovative, and who is open to find new solutions to big problems. I think that these are not skills, but this is the sort of people that we need. So open-minded people and people who is really engaged and committed.
Okay. Laia?
Yeah,
since you mentioned skills before.
Yeah, but let me start with maybe the qualities or the values. I just to change a little bit the perspective, no? Because I think the Oxfam and Tony's, and Danone, we have differences as a company, of course. So yeah, I will highlight that we need resilient people. This is not an easy agenda, at least for us. We need convictions. We need strong convictions, and resilience goes together. And we need people that can build strategies that are not only numbers and direction. It's like understanding which are the challenges we're facing, how in 3 years' time we can be in shape as a company to be a driver of change of this topic. Rather, could be the circularity topic, and could be the nutrition, and so how do we build strategies that I convince my board of direction that we need to move in this direction? I really look for partners, look for ideas outside that I can really make this happen. So this, I would say that this is things that we would highlight. And the last one is about people that can read this external agenda and have this hunger of being outside, being connected to the real world. This is something that can sound silly or stupid, but it's not everywhere. It's not everywhere. So there's people that has an activism in the society, a real activism on a social agenda or in a politics. People that really can read and have this sensitivity about what the world needs. And in terms of skills, as I said before, I think it's not about a specific career. This would be very difficult for me. We have a very diverse team, which I think it's something good to have this diversity. We can have lawyers, we can have business administration people, we have a political careers, which I found super interesting. All this about science, political science is super, I think we found people really powerful there as well. So I did a little bit my learnings after a while on this position.
Okay, thank you. Maybritt, do you have to add something on skills from your perspective, from a small activist company?
I can definitely relate to all skills and things that both are mentioning. I think I have one important thing to add here is that I think skill set and competence are really different per job. I think something that we see in every vacancy that we are hiring is that we're focusing on cultural add. I think if someone has a cultural add, they are more engaged, more committed to the company and to their job. So that's something that we're really focusing on, and our culture is actually based on 4 core values, which entrepreneurial, being outspoken, willful, which means it's a bit of a weird English word, but it means to do things in a different way and not always choose the easiest path, so to say. And the last one is make you smile. And I think that's what we see, what we would like to see in every single Tony. They really need to live and breathe these values in everything that we do. So that's something we're also paying a lot of attention to in interviews, really asking relevant examples of how these people are showing these values in their daily job, in their daily life, and it's also something we review on very well at the end of each interview to really make sure they are adding something to our culture, that they are striving for making impact and really helping us to do better and move on to the next level, so to say.
Okay, thank you. So in the interest of time, before I ask every single one of you to give your top piece of advice for a student who wants to hop onto a career in the impact world, maybe Laia, yes, since we talk to business students here and we are a business school, so from a corporate private perspective, what would you recommend a business student in order to shape their profile to make them fit with social impact? You said you're not hung up on a specific profile, you will look for diversity. So what is it then? What is this magic ingredient to shape your CV, something like that for business students?
Okay, not easy question.
Just from your experience.
From my experience, I would say people that show and prove hunger to do something for better, meaning like can have had the entrepreneurs, being entrepreneur to join a specific social cause, to drive a movement, even if it's a small one, just that shows this willingness to look for a change, and this being outside the comfort zone and being really connected to something that has drive their attention, that this is not good enough. So something that can show us that there's an interest, an internal interest and awareness about a topic that can prove us that there was something that they didn't want to just change and look to another side, that has take this topic and do something, even if it's small, to change this. And this is a way to show an attitude, this conviction, this braveness and boldness to tackle, and to show this point of being entrepreneur, as Maybritt said before. Maybe. Okay,
I take this as your piece of advice already, because that fits nicely. So thanks a lot. So maybe Laia has given us her piece of advice. So maybe Maybritt and Mariona, you can briefly, and then we move over to questions, give your point of view. What would be your piece of advice to students or soon-to-be graduates who want to enter the impact world?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so Tony is actually my first impact company that I'm working for. But I used to work for a big commercial company, so that's a complete different mindset. You really think about the numbers and not well, I wouldn't say you don't care, but you're working on numbers, selling, results. And what I realized when I joined Tony's is that I need to let go of that mindset. Now, if I do something, I'm really thinking about how is this being serious about people? What is the impact that I'm making? And how do we raise the bar with this as an employer and challenge others to do differently as well? And I think I would have liked someone to tell me that, to switch mindset, because that's what I really struggled with in the beginning. So I would say, let go of the commercial mindset. Don't care about, well, care a bit about the numbers, but really focus on people and doing better.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Advice would be just do it. So if you want to do it, don't stay at home thinking that maybe you are not good enough or you've not volunteered, I don't know where. So I agree with Laia. If someone has this entrepreneurial spirit and wants to change things, just go for the opportunity. And I also think that at least at Oxfam, we need people who is really committed with social causes, but also is very professional. So I think that anyone who has been studying at Esade has a good profile and has positive points.
Okay, excellent. Thanks a lot. Laia, is there any last point you would like to add, or should we move over to questions?
Oh, let's open to questions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. So, Josefina, you raised your hand. So please, the floor is yours with your question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Super interesting, everything. And my question goes mainly to Laia. And since you work in a very big company, how do you manage from the impact side to, because we have from one side the sustainability goals, and from the other side we have the numbers and all the EBITDA goals. So how do you manage to align both of them in such a big company, which obviously pursues profitability?
Yes, well, this is a little bit what I tried to enforce before, no? Which is a little bit trying to read this outside into the inside world. How do I turn this need? Because I really believe that this is the way that the business will be stronger to prepare for the future. The new generations has already changed. So we speed up or we won't be on the set of consideration of this new generation. So having this in mind, it's about, that's why I said this is a discussion, a regular discussion and a governance set up on the board of directions, where we need in our company, yes, to discuss a lot with numbers. But this is not only about numbers. There's a lot of conviction because we are there, because we understand we need to move. We are a B Corp. We need to really understand that this is the changes we need to do as a company for the future. So it's sometimes a matter of matching the investment for a new lines, investment on a new category products. As we said before, we acquire a plant-based products, and we need to understand how this combines with the dairy products and how we transform dairy farmers in the direction we believe that they will be beneficial for everyone. So this is the only way is about sitting on the same table, bringing the business case sometimes, bringing sometimes a conviction and dialogue a lot internally, and that's why we need a lot of resilience in sometimes, because it's not always so easy, and sometimes we need to prioritize other things, and sometimes we need to accelerate. So it's a monthly conversation. It's embedded on the daily decisions. So I don't know if I answer your question very precisely, but this is that's why we need a very different skills. I think we need to have finance guys, we need to have marketing people, we need to have, the more we are on this mindset, the easiest to understand how this project could combine with sustainable impact and business impact, because people find a way. And the good thing is that we have people really living this journey of being a B Corp, and we see that especially in the new generation that joined the company, that one of the reasons they told us is that, okay, you are a B Corp, and this is one of the reasons I applied for this job, no? Because so But yeah, it's quite my daily day.
Okay, thanks a lot, Marta.
Yeah, so I have a question for Maybritt. So basically, as Chocolonely is like a company that was founded not too long ago, it is completely oriented towards fair trade and eradicating slavery. Do you find that that has in any way sort of affected your opportunities for growth or profitability? Or on the other hand, has it even helped?
Absolutely not. No, I think Chocolonely is doing great if it comes to growth and offering development opportunities to the employees. I think that's also what we like about people. People are being ambitious, know what they want, know where they want to go to. And I think Tony is really helping every single person in that journey. We have personal development plans in place. We have also personal development budgets of quite high amounts, which you can spend on anything to broaden their world, so to say. So it absolutely didn't hold me back in anything. I'm here for only a year, and if I look at the experience that I built up with other companies, I've never grown so hard and fast as within this year. So no, it's definitely not holding us back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So there's one question in the chat from Rocco, basically asking Danone, what has been the major driver of change, and maybe also the role of big data, if that has played a role, or what has pushed you into this new direction of be corporate?
Well, I mean, as I said, I've been the ones we are born in Danone, and we know a little bit this culture we have, and it's so that maybe it's not so public, but this comes from long time. I think this is, so we always said that in the 1972, our CEO at that time made publicly the announcement that as a company, we cannot be only looking for our economic benefits, that we need to have a social impact on the 70s, when no one was talking at that time on social impact. And this is a specific point that really makes this company be a little bit more aware about the social impact from the very beginning. And this journey has been living area until Antoine Riboud, the son of this CEO, take the responsibility of the company, and later on came Emmanuel Faber, who at that time, knowing the company assets and knowing how we were already prepared, we make publicly the commit to be a B Corp company and support the B Corp movement. So it's not that one day we wake up and we decide to make these transformations. I don't know how to explain that, but it came from long time, but maybe was not so visible, maybe was not the reason why we were trying to approach the social impact in the non very visible. And it's true that once we make this more visible, with Emmanuel Faber at that time, we make this more public. But we don't feel that something has changed from day to another. But it's true that this agenda is gaining more relevance at the society, on the consumers, on retailers. So, and this is good, and that's why we are keeping this accelerating much more than what we did before, maybe, because it's the only solution to keep this brand connected with the society and what people want.
Okay, thank you. So Ellie, you have a question, your hand up, please.
Yes, thank you. So mine is very quick for Mariona. A lot of us ultimately will end up in big corporations, businesses on that side. And my question is, what is something that we can do as business professionals to support or encourage, partner with organizations like Oxfam and other NGOs? What would be your one piece of advice or something that we can take in tangibly at a manager level or even higher levels of the organization that we move into that maybe aren't a Tony's or a Danone that are super into sustainability or social impact? What would you encourage us with?
So, Ellie, I think that you could do several things. So the easiest one is just to connect with the NGO, with the one that you think that you can add value and offer your services as a company. I don't know in what sort of company you are working in, but so what you do probably is very useful for some NGOs. And on the other hand, something which is also really easy to do is looking for, promoting the causes of the NGO through the employees of the company, or participating in events that the NGO or Oxfam is doing and giving the opportunity to the employees to be there. Or in the case of Oxfam, so we are also doing some campaigning, so distributing the information of the campaigns in order that the employees and all the stakeholders can be part activists. So these are many, so this is really easy. You don't need to be Danone, which is really aligned and yeah, that the board and is decided to do that. So these are small things that I think that all of you can do in the companies that you work.
Thank you.
Okay. So final question, Georgie, then I guess we need to take time into consideration, please.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much. My question is more or less for all of you panelists. I was wondering if, let's say I'm a young entrepreneur, or I would like to make a social impact. I work in electronics. Well, I'm studying electronics. You've talked a lot about, let me just bring it up. Yeah, about trackers, other little types of devices that allowed you to gather data on everything going on in the chain of distribution. So sorry. So I was wondering if you personally would have any ideas, any kind of direction to give to me or someone else who's interested in this and who would like to make an impact in, which would be the best route, in your opinion, for this? Like in the type of products or other stuff.
That's a good question.
Difficult
Yeah.
one.
Difficult one. Yeah, I really need to think on the answer, but I think you're in a very specific area, and I can imagine it's quite hard to find how you get where you want. Yeah, so I'm not sure if I have the right advice for you right now. Maybe Laia has.
No, it's true that I don't know the sector as well I mean, because I think that it's something important. And just to give you advice, we need to understand which are those specific topics that concern this sector in order to move to impact. So to be honest, I can help you very much because it's about the knowledge I have from your specific area you work for. Sorry. Maybe we can talk aside and think a little bit more, because I think that every time we face a decision on impact, it's super relevant to understand the value chain, the operating model you and the playground you have in your sector. So that's why it's in the starting point.
And in the end, you have two
Without
options.
knowing that, it's tough for me to support.
I understand. I'm sorry, maybe I can just rephrase it very, 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 very quickly. What are your biggest challenges today?
Here I can answer. No, my biggest challenge is what Josefina asked me. I mean, to find the right solution internally to keep advancing, and to convince them that even if something will happen in 3 years' time for them, it's already something we need to find solutions now. This is my big challenge. So in sometimes decisions are taking about, okay, what will be my return this year or even this month? So how I change in 3 years' time, guys, if we don't tackle this topic. And if you want to do that with conviction, with purpose, being a front runner, looking for partners that want to hear you, we need to move already, not in 3 years. This is for me the challenge sometimes. Sometimes it's easy because thanks that we have this this mindset, the cultural mindset, and this mission as a company, and this is something solid enough with the governance enough, but sometimes it's not so easy, and we maybe spend more time than what Maybritt will have to do, I'm sure, in her company, in Tony's.
Yeah.
But for what rewards me is that if we do that, we have a scale, such a big scale, that the impact will be really strong. So even if sometimes it's tough, it deserves to be tough, because when it happens, the impact it's really, really impactful. So that's why I'm I find this energy there.
Yeah, maybe for us, I think what Tobias mentioned in the beginning, we are quite a small enterprise, but we made a big impression. And I think for us, the challenge is really in, you know, how do we get bigger? How do we get more people following us, more companies following us? So we have to go big, crazy in everything that we do, and we do that. We did some crazy stuff last year, like copying KitKat and Twix without shame, but. You know, so we really need to think outside of the box to draw attention from the companies and people around us to get to our goal. And I think as a small enterprise in this world is quite hard to do, but I think we're doing a good job so far, and we're probably doing some more crazy stuff in the coming years. So yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge that we face right now.
Okay, thank you very much for both of your answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Tobias, if you don't mind, I'm gonna close the session as we're running out of time. Thank you very much to all of you, and especially to Laia, Maybritt, Mariona, and Tobias. It's been a pleasure, and I think we all have learned a lot. I wanted to mention also that these kind of impact talks are organized by Esade Careers and Esade Center for Social Impact in collaboration with Esade Sud and Esade Alumni.